Welcome everyone to another mod spotlight, and today we are gonna have a look at the mods from Cjb on the Minecraft forums. It's a bunch of mods actually, and I consider them more to be of a creative type mod, so it's probably best to use them when you're building worlds, and it will help you out in various ways. So why don't we go ahead and have a look at each individual mod and what it adds. First of all, we are going to have a look at the Cjb API, which is required for all the other mods. On its own, it doesn't do anything else, but once you have downloaded and installed one of the supported mods, you can hit the I key by default, and you will see which mods you have installed and can access the menus of those guys. Now currently I have installed 3 of the 5 mods that I'm gonna show you in this spotlight, and you can get the information, for instance, what it does in general, or you can also have a look in the menu. Now we're gonna have a look at that later. So I only want to show you the mods that I truly believe are useful in creative mode. There's also an X-ray mod, for instance, that I'm not gonna show off. I'm just gonna tell you what you can do with it. But I don't think an X-ray mod is really useful in creative. In creative you want to build stuff and you want to have information at your disposal. The first module probably already caught your eye because it is right in your face on the top of the screen right there. And this is actually so freaking useful. It might even be useful in survival, but it is a little bit cheaty because you get so much information that you would not have otherwise. So let's go through it from the left to the right, and there are even bars that don't show up yet because certain conditions have to be met. But the first one, the clock that we see, is the day. In the brackets we have the in-game time. The torch stands for the light level, so we are under the sun, light level 15, the highest light level. We can see the biome. Right here it is Extreme Hills. Over there it should be Extreme Hills Edge, I believe. Yeah, there we go. The next number is actually for the Fps counter, the redstone symbol. Pretty darn awesome, I have to say. So if you are into recording, you might find this useful. Otherwise you can disable it. The next thing is actually the weather forecast, and this is I don't know, I'm not sure how it works exactly. One of the numbers stands for when it is raining and the other number stands for how long it will be raining. So you will know exactly when things are going to happen, and I think this is very useful. For instance, if I'm recording and I see it will be raining in 1 minute, I can prevent that from happening. Useful. Next up we have the XP, how many XP we need to get to the next level, and last but not least we have the coordinates. So there's a few things that will appear when certain conditions meet. For instance, if we are in a slime chunk, there should be a slime ball popping up right here in the middle, as you can see, which means we are in a slime chunk. Also, if you have certain things in your hand, for instance a sword, you can see we have now the diamond sword, and it actually shows you the ID, the item ID, which is 276, and in the brackets you can see how many uses you have left. Now this is the very useful number. I believe you can even disable the item ID individually. I'm not sure about this though. Next up, if you have a bow in your hand, you can see as well how many uses it still has. So 385, don't confuse the two numbers. And you can actually see to the right of the bow right here that we have 6 arrows. So in my inventory I have 6 arrows. I can have them anywhere in my inventory, and you can always kind of monitor how many arrows you have left. Once you are getting buffs or debuffs, the mod will also show you that. So if I drink this potion, you can see we have now the weakness 1 effect for 1 minute and 24 more seconds. I can also drink it off with a bucket of milk and it will disappear. Very cool about this mod is also that if you are in the village, it will show you how many villagers there are, how many doors there are, the size of the village, and your reputation with them. So right now I hit 1 and my reputation went down a little bit. Probably trading will solve that issue. You can also see the health bars on top of the villagers and every other mob, which also belongs to this mod, so it will show you how much HP they have left before they are killed. One more thing I want to show you is if you actually look at blocks, you can see the block ID as well as the block name on the top right if you haven't seen it. So right now I'm looking at block ID 2, which is grass, sand is 12, and so on and so forth. And this is very useful if you play around with World Edit, for instance, or with bucket plugins, shops on servers, etc. Last but not least, we are going to have a quick look at the in-game menu of this mod. So hit the I key and we are going to go into the More Infos tab, and you can see that you can toggle on and off basically everything and more. And most of the stuff is actually pretty self-explanatory. Now let's have a look at this OR settings tab. In here, I believe this works together with the X-ray mod, so it will show you certain things through blocks if you want to have that enabled, but this is stuff that doesn't really interest me. I'm only interested in things that help you be more creative with your worlds and not necessarily to cheat. The next mod in the collection is actually the QuickCraft mod, which is also pretty useful. If you have it installed and look in a crafting table, you can switch back and forth between the normal crafting table and this quick crafting. And what it will do is actually show you everything that you can make with the stuff that you have in your inventory. So right now I have wooden planks, so I can make out of the building blocks some slabs or stairs. So let's make 4 stairs, for instance. Just click that and the stairs are made. It also shows me the recipe for it down there, so if you want to look up certain recipes you can do so. You can also shift click and you will actually get an entire stack of stairs. Pretty cool. And next up we have all these tabs. And what you can also do is enable crafting recipes that you don't have the ingredients for. So we can have a look at how a powered rail is made, and we can see that we need 6 gold bars, 1 stick and 1 redstone. Very useful information. And as a little side note, this works both for single and multiplayer, and it even works for custom recipes. The next mod is the X-ray mod, and I'm not going to show this off visually because I'm sure you can imagine that X-ray mods have been there for ages. And what it does is basically you can disable certain blocks that you don't want to see, and you will only see the blocks that you want to see, and everything else is see-through. The way you enable this is hit the I key as usual, and you will have a tab for your X-ray mod. Next up we have the mob filter mod. Oh, say that 5 times fast. Now this guy is very simple. Just hit the I key, go in the options menu, and you can see all the animals there are in the game so far. You can even disable all the aggressive mobs at once, or all the friendly mobs at once. So for instance, let's find our creeper that we have in front of us, and if I find it right there, we are going to go back and the creeper disappears, the spider is still there. And no creeper can be spawned from this point on. So let's check it out just to see that it works. Yep, that works perfectly, and we can even spawn a skelly and it will only burn in the sun. Now I believe this mod is especially useful for super flat creative worlds where you need to experiment around with mobs and you cannot really set to peaceful, but these freaking slimes keep harassing you all the time. Easy way to disable them. The next mod on the Cjb mods list is actually the fly mod. And this mod will simply make you able to fly, but since I can already do that in creative, I'm not going to show this off visually as well. But you can switch between flying and non-flying using a hotkey. There's also an option to make you run faster and fly faster, which is actually useful for certain situations. Last but not least, we are gonna have a look at the cheats mod. This is the last mod in the list, and I have a split feeling about this because it can be exploited as a cheaty tool, but I always consider this being part of the creative possibilities that are given to me, and you just have to use them in the right way. So let's have a look at the different cheats there are. Just hit the I key, go in the cheats tab. You can see there are standard cheats, like you can disable your damage that you get, but you will still get damage from hunger, I believe. The hunger you can actually disable here. You can set yourself to get a one-hit kill. Might be useful if you want to test your adventure maps. want to get through them quickly, just test spawn rates and stuff like that. It's always useful. Increase the pickup radius, and oh man, this is just great if you want to test things and don't want to walk around all the time. You can also get infinite XP, which I believe isn't an issue if you are in creative anyway, so this is only a cheaty tool. But anyways, we have stuff like auto jump, which is cool, so you don't have to jump if you are climbing up stuff, but might also be a little bit annoying, but you can always disable it, of course. You can increase the plant growth, which is very useful for testing. You can also increase the block break speed, so you can do stuff in survival and kind of break it very fast, just like you were in creative. That might be useful as well. And you can also harvest without a pickaxe if you really wanted to. And disable the weather, which is of course very useful for testing worlds. One thing I almost overviewed is this relation to Industrial Craft 2. So you can actually enable this to make your machines from Industrial Craft never run out of energy. Alright guys, this has been it for today's mod spotlight. You will find the link in the description as usual. If you liked the video or enjoyed it, it would be awesome if you leave a comment or a like. Other than that, hopefully see you the next time. Have a good time. Bye bye.